Good morning and welcome to the Red Mic. Happy Tuesday. Glad you're here. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. I also pick up a few of these from pop culture and whatnot. And anyway, some things were going through my head and thought I'd write about it and talk about it a little bit today. Um, as that mediocre athlete, I learned a lot about heart and resilience and playing through pain and irritation, but also uh, when to pivot. Sometimes in your professional life, when you're going to face moments where staying in the same spot is no longer an act of loyalty, but a drain on your potential. There's a cycle you can fall into that goes from comfort, routine, and hesitancy to rip off the band-aid. I did it when I left the chiropractic board. I was happy there, other than my earning potential, um, but it was hard. You nothing wrong with the job, but it was a time. It was time to move on, right? Uh, in that case, it wasn't a toxic environment. It was just for my own personal growth. But in some cases, um, there's going to be all sorts of red flags that crop up, and you should pay attention, particularly if that inner voice of yours is screaming at you to pay attention. Um, Ignored expertise, unethical requests, a lack of growth. Um, these are all things that should tell you, hey, your talents, your values, it's not being honored, right? And it's not just about how you feel in your job, it's about how your job impacts your health and your relationships, um, your goals, your dreams. Um, in Jerry Maguire, he says, I don't quit, I stick. And Dorothy, she kicks him to the curb anyway. He was willing to stick around when uh, she was not willing to let him. Right? Um, Happy ending, of course, at the end of that. But um, you've got to you got to know when to fold them. Right? So know your worth. Draw the line when your integrity or your growth is compromised. Have the courage to make a change, not just for yourself, but to anybody who looks to you as an example, whether that's your kids, your wife, other coworkers, the people in your chain, anything like that. Staying isn't always the right choice. Sometimes it's the bold move to leave that is going to reshape your future, right? So you owe it to yourself to stay where you're challenged, respected, and inspired. Um, it's not just about the paycheck, although sometimes it is the paycheck, as I mentioned for me. So if these are all things that your inner voice is telling you, it's not. Don't look at it as quitting. Look at it as you're taking the next step towards something better. That's today's Red Mike message. Hope you found it interesting. I hope you find it helpful. I hope, as Yogi Berra said, if you get to that fork in the road, you take it. Um, on a completely different note, I do not subscribe to the we live in a simulation matrix kind of ideology or thought pattern, but sometimes the coincidences just stack up. Yesterday, you may recall that I mentioned one of the very first red mics that I did, even before I had the term red mic that I was throwing out into the universe, right? It was just I was bouncing around with everything like game changer and coach and stuff like that, right? Well, I mentioned that I yesterday I mentioned that one of my early ones that uh, it was about getting better every day and challenging yourself and all of that. And just sort of, again, it was just sort of a mention, right? Last night I'm on Instagram, mindlessly scrolling as you do, and Zachary Levi from Chuck and Shazam and all of that, uh, he actually posted in his, I think they call it the stories. He posted that same link with that same discussion about the same coach, and I was like, wow. We're not in a simulation, I don't think, but that's really coincidental. So I think I'm going to dust that off and bring it back. Um, Maybe take a look at what I said and what I didn't say and rewrite it a little bit. So let me know what you think about that. I've tried to stay away from old topics, but maybe the universe or some higher power is trying to tell me, hey, pay more attention to this one, Fortner. So anyway, I appreciate you being here. I really do. Please let me know what you think down in the comments. Please give me a like, a follow, and a share. I would appreciate it so very much. Thanks for being here again. I love you guys. I'll see you again tomorrow. And don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon.